talking, so.
That's fine.
Fry's Restaurant, 1302 Main Highway in Bamberg, now presents the Coach's Corner Show with Trent Kinard and Anthony Harley, along with head football coach of the Bamberg-Ehrhardt Red Raiders, Butch Crosby. We take you now to Fry's Restaurant for this live broadcast of the Coach's Corner Show.
And welcome, sports fans. We're out at Fry's Drive-In today for the weekly coaches show. Bamberg-Ehrhardt Red Raider coach Butch Crosby with us here today. How you doing, Butch?
Doing good.
Good, good. All right, we're going to ask some questions here first. We got a bunch of people here with us at Fry's Drive-In, and you're more than welcome to come out and join us. We still have time. It's only about 1:30. The show starts each and every Thursday at 1 o'clock. We sit down, eat with Coach Crosby. Then at 1:30, we start with the questions and answers and different things like that to try to get it going. All right, Coach, let's look back at Williston-Elko and give us the high points and the low points from that game.
Low points first, I guess. Just coming out sluggish a little bit there on offense and defensively. I think we gave it that big play on the first play of the game, and I thought that kind of put a little damp on us coming out in that game. But I thought we rebounded well. We kept sticking with the game plan, but I thought. That was one of the low points. One of the high points was just watching some of the kids fight through adversity. It was very humid out there last week, and we actually had some guys that go down with cramps, but we had some young guys that came in and stepped in and played very well for us.
Yeah, we did. If you noticed throughout the game, we had a lot of breaks for people getting cramps. I think the game lasted 2 hours and 35 minutes, if I am somewhere in that time frame.
In there, yes.
And a lot of that was to do with the actual kids getting the cramps, and it taking time to get them off the field. What did you take from this week's game as far as what you passed along to the players during practice this week?
We just got to cut down on some of the turnovers. If you go back and look at the game, I think we ended up with about 8 turnovers early on, especially offensively on the first drive. I think we had a false start on our first play of the game. And then I think we had a couple of holding penalties by a couple of receivers, maybe a couple of linemen. We just got to cut down on some of those penalties a little bit because we don't want to start off in the hole. We try to get positive yards on each and every play, and then when you got a drive going, you got a little momentum going, and all of a sudden you get a penalty. Kind of stalls you out offensively, and that's one of the things that we harped on. We really worked that this week on perfect plays of doing things perfect. Perfect plays. No penalties, no drop balls, no miscommunication between the quarterback and the coaches on the sideline. Little things like that we harped on this week in practice.
Talking about the first play of the game, Coach Crosby, Williston-Elko throws a little pass out to the left. Player scampers 71 yards. On that play, looking back at the film, we had several missed tackles. What were you thinking? I can tell you what I was thinking. I was getting ready to call Derek Jeffcoat back to his old job because I said, well, I'm bringing them boys bad luck. So I was getting ready to get him back on his job, I can promise you.
I don't know if you were going to call it you bad luck. First thing came back to my mind was Christchurch all over getting a state championship, and we've been harping that all summers. We got to cover it back out of the backfield, and lo and behold, who comes out and run that first play? Williston-Elko comes out and throws a swing pass to the back, and we miss him, and then next thing you know, you got 4 or 5 missed tackles. Next thing you know, they're in the end zone. That was a wake-up call for us. I think Coach Crosby harped that, when they came to the sideline. Guys, we just worked this all summer. Working on his back out of the backfield. We just got to make solid tackles. We got to just balance them up and make the tackle. So Christchurch came back to my mind. Yeah,
well, if you look at that play, we had that. They scored a touchdown right after blocks, first play of the game. Then we struggle early on our first 2 possessions. We go 3 and outs.
Right.
Then on defense, we step up on Williston-Elko the next drive. The punt, Jamari Dunbar runs it back for a touchdown. Red Raiders, it looks like that was the spark we needed. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we always harp, there's 3 phases to a football game: offense, defense, special teams. And I thought we did a great job on special teams the other night with the punt return. We worked that all week. We worked that a good bit as far as setting walls and getting into the wall and making the correct blocks, and everybody doing their job on punt return. Those things add up in the long run, and I thought we did a great job on special teams.
All right, let's move forward. The interception, second quarter. Cole Gagem looks to get the ball. the refs give the ball to Willis Nelco. Now, I don't know who was more upset, you on the field or me in the booth. I might have said there with the headsets, but I think they slipped off your head. I mean, that's all I think happened. But what were your thoughts about that? I knew you were upset at the time. You've had time to go back and look at the play now. I've had time to look at it. What are your thoughts?
I just thought that Cole made a heck of a play. He got beat initially, but I thought his recovery was great. He came back and actually got his left hand up underneath, left hand between the receiver and the ball. And actually, I thought he came down with it cleanly. The problem I had with it, and the problem the headsets probably came off, was the guy, the ref behind the play, is the one that called it instead of the guy on the side that saw the same thing I saw. And that was my biggest thing, was the guy that saw the same thing I saw should have went out there and communicated with him and said, this is what I saw and let's talk about it. But I don't think that happened.
Yeah, that's what I saw as well. And looking at the tape, you can see that. It was the judge, the back judge comes up, tries to make that call. There's no way he could have seen what happened because he is way out of position. The guy on the sideline doesn't even, try to talk to him to let him know that it was an interception.
Right.
All right, we go right before the half. 3rd down and 4. Savalas Franklin looks as though he's improvised and throws a pass to the running back who was Dunbar. Mm-hmm. Was that a busted play? Fans have asked me all week. Or a play call?
It was actually, should have been an option call.
That's what we thought, yeah.
Savalas kind of held it a little too long. That's something we were trying to implement in our offense, is run the option a little bit. It's new to him, and we hadn't done that before. I just thought he held it a little bit too long, but he did a great job of just getting it out there to him, because we told him, if you get it out there to him, there's nobody out there. The way they were playing us defensively, we can just get it to the edge and give him a chance. It's a one-on-one situation. He's got to make somebody miss, and he did.
On the next play, if you go back with it, you bring in Hunter Etheridge.
Right.
I say on the radio, I said, you're probably going to throw the ball. We talked last week, thought Hunter's legs probably not as good as Savalas. So at that point, I'm thinking, well, probably going to throw the ball. Instead, he runs bootleg, gets in the end zone. It was a gutsy call, but it paid off.
That was one of those curveballs I threw you. I didn't want Williston to think that he couldn't run, but he can run. We just have certain things that we try to utilize Hunter with. He actually saw that himself. He got into a rhythm of being back there and seeing things, and he said, Coach, I think that end is crashing down hard. If I pull it, ain't nobody there. So I said, hey, take a chance on it. Right now we need anything to spark us. So he called his number, and he held on to it. And actually, I think he scored on that play, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. I think it was 17 yards out. That's big. You go into the half, instead of 14-12, you go in 20-12. The PAT was missed, if you recall.
Right.
What do you tell your team at halftime? It's been like a roller coaster. You started off the first play of the games, you get scored on, you kind of settle down, offense struggles. The spark you got, of course, in the first half was when Jamari Dunbar runs back I think it was 68 or 71. I can't remember exactly how far, but it was a punt return. He runs back. What do you tell your team?
We just tell them to stick with the game plan. Our whole purpose was to just be able to get into an up-tempo on offense. We were getting the ball back there in the second half. That's the reason why we tried to punch one in right there before half, because we knew we were getting the ball back in the second half, and if we can punch another one in right there at the start of the second half, it might take a little air out of them, because it just was a 6-point ball game at that time. And I thought we did a great job of coming out in the second half, punching one in, going back up by 12 or 13, which I thought that took a little air out of them. After that, they realized that they're going to run the ball, and we're going to stick to running the football in the second half just to wear them down. I thought our backs did a great job of rotating. I thought we did a great job outside of blocking when our receivers, when things got outside, they did a great job of doing that. So we're just trying to do up-tempo just to wear them down and see what we can get going, and I thought we did a great job of that.
Yeah, one thing you were talking just a moment ago with your PATs, you're using the quarterback who's Hunter Etheridge,
right.
In and out. Right. How does that factor in? Do you have another kicker that you can use? We saw where, I think it was twice, I know once I can recall, but maybe twice, he missed the PAT, and he had just scored a touchdown on the previous play before that. So was that a...
that might have been a factor. It was a little humid out there Friday night, but Hunter's, I think he's going to be able to do quarterback and turn around and be able to kick PATs. I don't think that had a factor, and I think that's more of him being able to control himself and seeing himself as a quarterback on the field, and then turn around and become a kicker. And I just think he just lost a little focus and missed.
Excited.
Yeah, just a little bit excited.
Yeah. And that's the youth, so you can understand that.
Yeah.
We come out in the second half, like you say, it becomes apparent the Red Raiders still have gas in the tank. But the Wilson Elko players, if you know, they look gassed. I mean, I spoke on the air, I think Friday night, about the Red Raiders conditioning program in the off season and in the summer.
Right.
Let fans know about what you do in the summer and why our kids may have been a little better physically conditioned than the Blue Devils.
I think Coach Crosby and the weight room staff does a great job. We get up at 6 o'clock. We start at 6 o'clock in the morning. We split them up into 2 groups. We put our bigs in the weight room one day, and then our skill guys go out, and Coach Palmer runs them, does a conditioning program with them. We do that 4 days a week for 8 weeks, and I think that's what carries us over into the beginning of the season is that, we have them there for 8 weeks, 4 days a week, and they getting 2.5 hours worth of work, just about what you get in a regular practice during the season. And we get it before it gets hot, so they give us everything they got for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I know my son, he's going into 8th grade. This is his first summer, and I said it last week, I think, going with y'all. By the time he gets home at 9 o'clock, he's ready to get back into bed.
That's right. We try to get all we can get out of them before 9 o'clock. It's almost like the old saying, they say in the military, we do more before 9 o'clock than most people do all day. That's what we try to do here in Bamberg.
And that's it. Great win against the Wilson Elko Blue Devils, but when do you start thinking about Edisto and putting that win behind you?
We actually started thinking about Edisto on Friday night home on the way home on the bus. That game Williston was over with. It was time to start preparing for Edisto. We're just talking about some of the things that we got to correct before we get to Edisto on tomorrow night. Edisto, they going through a coaching change, but they're still Edisto. You still got to think of it as being a rivalry. The 301 rivalry, Battle of 301, however they call it. A rivalry's a rivalry. No matter how bad they may look on film or how good they may look on film, you throw all that out the door and, you just go at it. Everybody's going to be hyped up to play because it's Edisto versus Bamberg. So we got to come out and we got to focus. And I thought we had a great week of practice, focusing on some of the things that they do and have a chance to go out and showcase that on Friday night.
Yeah, you were talking earlier. Former Bamberg-Ehrhardt graduate Jeremy Sykes resigns as Edisto head coach. I guess it was just before the season starts.
Right.
You got a new coach just before the season starts. You knew Jeremy's system, but with the new coach, how much do you know about what he likes to do or how he likes to do it? I know you got one film, which was, I'm assuming, from Orangeburg Wilkinson, and
right.
Of course, they struggled in that game. I think the final was, if I'm not mistaken, 48-0. Is that right?
44
to nothing. Okay. So it's hard to tell. How do you prepare for that?
You just try to look at film and see what you can get out of that film. And the most thing we did this week was we just try to concentrate on us. We try to concentrate on making sure we got things corrected from the game before, so that it won't lead into a habit of doing things the wrong way. So we just try to do more of concentrating on us and more than concentrating on them. Don't get me wrong, you think about it, everything that they do from what you see on film, you still got to work on it. But you can't harp on it because you're not sure if that's the same thing they're going to be in this week. New coach, if it didn't work last week, sometimes they have a tendency of just going in and changing offense, changing defenses. We don't know. We won't know until we get over there. We just got to be prepared, and we just got to handle us in that situation.
Yeah, let the fans know that are listening today. We did invite the Edisto coach, or tried to invite, I'll say. I left him about 3 or 4 voicemails, and he did not return our call, but he would have been invited to join us here today. You saw the film against Edisto and Orangeburg Wilkinson.
Right.
What stood out, if anything, to you as far as offensively and defensively for the Cougars this year?
They're athletic. They got some bodies over there. They got some big bodies. They got some fast bodies. And, we look at film and we just, some of the kids just stand out. They're running back. Their receivers stood out. They got a linebacker that I thought probably can play anywhere. He plays middle back, and he's all over the field. He makes plays left and right. So they got some talent over there. We just got to figure out what they're doing and where they're at, and we just got to go at it.
Well, I'm sure the kids know that Orangeburg Wilkinson beat Edisto 44-0. You
Right.
played Orangeburg Wilkinson scrimmage, did pretty well. You had your first teamers out a lot, second teamers, were in.
Right.
Kids are going to be kids.
Right.
How do you get them not to say or think going into this week, this is going to be an easy game? How do you combat that?
We just combat it by just telling them, everybody's going to come out to Bamberg, and if you let your guard down, then that's when you get beat. So we just harp, it's Edisto, this is the next big game, and every game is a big game, but you got to take them one at a time, and this is just the next big game for us.
Coach, what can Red Raider fans expect Friday night? Can we expect a spread, hurry-up offense, something? Give us something. Come on.
We're going to be in spread. We're going to do what we do. We're not that flashy type offense. We ground 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust. We'll throw the ball here and there, try and look to get something big. But we'll be in the same thing we were in last week. We'll be 3-4 wide and one back in the backfield, and we'll run it. We might throw it a little bit early.
Coach, I said on the radio, I was telling everybody the fans were unbelievable Friday night. We had fans standing, lining up on the sidelines, in the bleachers. What would you say to fans this week about coming out, trying to get them motivated to come?
Our kids love to have the support that our fans bring. That's one of the things. I think we probably had more fans than they did in Williston. We just got to continue to just come out and support these young men because they give us everything they got each and every day they're out there on the field. Edisto don't have a big stadium, so you're going to probably be on the side behind the fence, but just come out and support and try to pack it and see how many people we can get in this stadium.
That's a good thing. And even though we got a radio station in Bamberg now, our main purpose is to provide service to the listeners that are unable to go. If you're able to go, go on out, carry your headset with you and listen to us. We'd love to have you listening. But our main goal is to support Bamberg-Ehrhardt Red Raider football here at WBSC 102.3. Coach, any last words for Red Raider fans out there? I know it's not been a long show today, and sometimes it may be longer. Sometimes, rather, it may be longer than others, but today's kind of short. But
right.
What you got to say for Red Raider fans? Anything else?
I just keep coming out and supporting. We just look forward to seeing all of you out on Friday night supporting these young men over in Edisto.
All right, I will tell you, Red Raider fans, Bamberg-Ehrhardt 31-15 all time against the Edisto Cougars. Red Raiders have been shut out 4 times. Last one was 1999. Edisto, on the other hand, has shut out the Red Raiders. Red Raiders 4 times. We've shut out Edisto 7 times. Last one was in 2008. Most points scored by the Bamberg-Ehrhardt Red Raiders was 52. That was back in 1989.
Right.
And I think, let's see, the most points scored by the Edisto Cougars were 53 and 98, where they beat us 53-7. Now, this is a big stat, Coach. Bamberg-Ehrhardt Red Raiders, 12 wins in a row over Edisto. And it's still a big rival. That's what's amazing is you beat a team 12 times in a row. What makes it a big rival?
Just because of the communities just being across the river. That's what makes it a rivalry, is that we're so close. The kids know each other, the fans know each other, and it just makes it even a greater atmosphere when you get 2 communities that are so close together out there on Friday night. So, it's rivalry. And like I said, they're going to throw everything they can at us on Friday night. I know they're saying that there are kids that, they hadn't beat us in 12 years. It's time to make that change. It's now or never, or whatever the case may be. But they're going to find something to hype them up just to come out and try to break this cycle. This 12-game winning streak. They're going to do whatever they can to try to do that.
And like you said earlier, what you do with your kids, I mean, it's business as usual.
Always.
And you see that from the Red Raiders every week. They don't go out and really get hyped up for any game. It's always business as usual. They go out and play defense like we always play it. We play offense like we're always supposed to play it. And that's a testament to you and the other coaches on having your kids focused each and every week.
Yeah, it's all about staying focused. A lot of times you can get all hyped up, and next thing you know, you go out there and you're down 30-0 because you're still hyped up. So we try to keep ours even keel. We try to let them know that, just stay focused on the issue at hand. It's business as usual. We'll celebrate after the game. I want them to be excited during the game and chest bump and jump up and down with each other, but also you got to remember you still got another play that's got to be played.
Well, Coach, next week we'll be on the air the next 2 weeks, throughout the entire season. Next week, obviously, you don't have a game on Friday.
Right.
And I'll ask you probably next week again, but what do you do with the kids that week when you're having an off week? How do you get them to stay
Actually,
focused?
we're going to take a couple of days and just focus on our JV team. We've been giving them reps here in practice, but they actually start their season on September the 9th. That's on a Wednesday night here in Bamberg. So we're going to focus a lot more on trying to kind of separating the teams a little bit, because for about a 6-game stretch, we won't dress out 65, 70 kids like we dressed out these first 2 games, just because of the new 8-quarter rule that came out. They can't play but 4 quarters. So we'll spend a lot of time focusing on those JV guys, and then in the process, we'll start focusing on Barnwell a little bit, just trying to get some of their formations, some of the things that we want to do, and maybe a couple of tendencies. We'll just start talking situations against Barnwell.
Last week I wanted to talk to you. I think we may have left it out about the 8-quarter rule. We know now that it's affected some teams throughout South Carolina. I've read all week that some teams are now letting them play JV. Some teams are not having a JV program. Some teams are not having this and that. How's it affected the Bamberg-Ehrhardt Red Raiders as far as numbers or anything, or how you get to play?
It really hadn't affected us number-wise. The only thing that has affected us is the teams around us may not have a JV, may not have a middle school. We just had to figure out. I must have changed the schedule. Coach Williams and myself must have changed the schedule about 3 or 4 times, just trying to figure out who may have a JV, who doesn't have a JV, who has a middle school, who doesn't have a middle school. They might call it early in the summer they was calling saying they had one, and then 2 weeks later calling and saying, well, Coach, we ain't got a middle school team because of numbers. But we just had to sit down and figure it out. What games we were going to play with middle school and who we were going to play and how many we were going to play. And the same thing with JV, but it doesn't affect us because we got a good number of kids out. I looked down at the middle school on yesterday. I think we got right at about 47, maybe 52 kids down there in middle school. That's probably the biggest number we've had out here in Bamberg since I've been here. And it's great to see those young men out there. It just keeps us positive that, you know, we got a chance as the years go by.
And that's a testament, again, to you and your coaching staff, Coach. I mean, everybody wants to be part of a winner.
That's great.
I mean, if you're 0-10 for 4 years, you've been there, we've seen it, you know, it's hard to get kids out. Getting back to the 8-quarter rule, we got a region foe, Edisto.
Right.
What have they decided? Last week they were supposed to play Portugal. They did not play. Portugal ended up playing Thomas Hayward, beat them 52-6, I think the final was. So what's the word on Edisto thus far?
The latest word I had is that I think they may end up having a forfeit this week's game against Battery Creek, from what I've heard. They're just in a situation where they don't have the kids out because of a new 2.0 rule that they put in effective in 2015-2016 season. So, you know, once again, it's all about academics. You know, you can't fight that battle, but you just got to get your kids, and they just got to understand that they got to do what they got to do inside the classroom. But I'm not sure exactly where that's going to go. Hopefully they can get enough kids out to salvage their season. Right now they've lost 2 games due to not having enough kids out. I'm not sure exactly what the board down there has decided. I've talked to the head coach down there a couple of times. He doesn't know exactly what's going on, other than he's saying, you know, I don't have enough kids to play right now. So hopefully we'll hear something here in the next couple of days and next week or so, whether or not they're going to be able to continue with their season.
Looking at the region, several teams played this last weekend. Denmark-Ola and HKT, that game stood out to me.
Oh, it did. It really did. I really thought Denmark had a chance. I heard it over the intercom at the game Friday night that they might have been up, but I'm not sure if that was true.
Yeah.
At one point they were up. So obviously they're getting better. Coach Mason's doing a great job with those guys over there. So that's what I say about the region. It may seem like, you know, this team's not very good, this team's not very good, but any given night you can get beat. And if you don't come to play, that's what's going to happen.
Exactly. Allendale Fairfax easily took care of Baptist Hill. That score was well up there, but they won as well this week. Coach, we got a thing here for you. It says 102.3 WBSC proudly presents the Bamberg-Ehrhardt Red Raider varsity football player of the game. And this week, we, on Friday night, gave it to Hunter Etheridge for the week of the August 21st, 2015. It's signed by myself, Trent Kinard, play-by-play announcer, Bob Smoke, general manager, Jeff Dibble, film, and Anthony Harley, spotter. And we'll do this each and every week, and at the end of the year, our plans are to give out a player of the year from the radio station. So you want to say something about Hunter's performance this week?
I just thought Hunter played a heck of a game on Friday night, taking his first start on the varsity level. I thought he stepped up to the challenge well. Early in the game, I thought he was a little bit nervous, but I thought he settled in there very well and did just exactly what we asked him to do. And that's all about, you know, quarterbacking, is just do what we ask you to do, and usually you'll be fine. And I thought he did a heck of a job there.
All right, Coach Crosby, thank you for another week. This is the second week we've had the Coach's Corner here from Fry's Drive-In, located on Highway 301 North in Bamberg. Make sure you come out next week. We got some fans here, and if anybody got a question, does anybody have a question for us this week? We got one right here. Yep. Hold on a second. Can we get that? Let's get. Where'd Anthony go? All right, go ahead. I will try to hear you. I apologize.
Keyshawn's probably the biggest injury we had. He's had a back injury, but that was back from the Silver Bluff game. I think he's day by day. He's practiced all week. He seems to be doing fine. You know, we're spotting some of his reps right now just for being this early in the season. You don't want to do anything that's going to risk him that you won't have him down in the long run.
Anybody else with injuries, notable injuries?
We had 2 in car accidents this weekend, this past Monday. That's going to be out for a little while. Shane Hanks, which was one of our quarterbacks, and Kevin Wright, which was one of our defensive ends, and also played tight end on the JV team. Those 2 young men, we've been keeping them in our prayers. One of them's home, Kevin's home. Shane's actually still in GRU in Augusta. So those 2 guys are going to be out for a while. But as far as any other injuries that are still here or that would be dressing out on Friday, I don't think we have any.
That's pretty good. Anyone else got questions? Your hand, just watch it. Anybody else got any questions here today? All right, so nobody else has any questions for Coach Crosby. Again, Coach Crosby, second week in a row that we've done this. Last week we didn't do it live on the air. This week we did. We invite all Red Raider fans to come out with us every Thursday until we change it. We're going to start at 1 o'clock, and at 1:30 we will start the coaches show. So at 1 o'clock you can come out, talk with Coach Crosby and some other coaches that come out. And at 1:30 each and every Thursday you can listen live on 102.3. That's WBSC 102.3. You can also listen to us via the stream at www.wbscradio.org or download the app. On your search on your app, either iPhone or an Android, you can search WBSC Radio. So any of those ways you can come to listen to us. Coach Crosby, anything else?
That's it. We just appreciate you having us on the show today. All
right, again, always go Red Raiders, and we'll be back with you tomorrow night. Game time starts. We'll be on the air at 7:15. Game time's at 7:30. Make sure you join us live from Cougar Stadium over in Edisto, and we'll get going and hopefully get a victory there, Coach.
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, that's it, Bob. Throw it back to you at the studio, and we appreciate you being back there and helping us out today, Mr. Bob Smoke.